Hey and welcome back to my corner, and this episode is about crazy women causing me tinnitus, tragedy, and loss. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean it all starts here. Well, just looking at this art alone, it's incredibly obvious that this episode wasn't even finished when this art was made. But anyway, a week later, Kenny and I are in Macon doing a supply run. Trying to make it into the old drugstore, all of a sudden, a stupid girl that makes me feel like I'm dealing with rabies decides to run out and draw every walker within the radius of 50 miles. Well, I have tinnitus now. The girl gets bitten, so either we can shoot her and put her out of her misery, or let her live so that she can keep drawing out the walkers so we can grab more supplies. Either way, she's gonna die, so I let her buy us time. Well, honestly, the tinnitus that comes from this is about 5 times worse than the tinnitus you get from shooting a gun. After taking a maximum of 20 items, we fight our way out of the drugstore. The hell kind of wars have we been getting into in this past week? And frankly, this would have never happened under my presidency, let's be frank. Lily and Kenny have another spat. Great. And it turns out someone's been stealing from our supplies. Well, that's just wonderful, ain't it? So Carly recommends that I follow up on the stolen supplies situation. Ooh, flirty, eh? Lily sends me on an investigation to see who did it. Duck decides to help too, because why not? And on the side of one of the buildings, we find an X out of pink chalk. After this important discovery, Carly recommends that Lee tell everyone he trusts about his past. Look at that, these two actually have chemistry. So I'm off to tell everyone I trust. Oh, and right before I leave...
Don't call me small.
Wow, okay, well, congrats. That's more than I'll ever get. I decide to tell Clem and my boy Kenny about my past. Then I go over to one of Duck's discoveries, a bunch of pink chalk by the dumpsters. Going outside the perimeter, Lee finds a paper bag inside a grate. And this paper bag has drugs in it. The medical ones, I mean. So we certainly have a traitor in our midst. Well, that's just wonderful, ain't it? Then all of a sudden, a group of bandits holds everyone hostage. Lee's sent to distract them while Lily goes to snipe them. Lee tries to reason with them, and the most satisfying thing happens so far.
Man, shut up, bro! Christ!
I mean, it really is like ASMR. Carly shoots the rest of the bandits except for one, and Lee shoots him in the butt. Was that a fart or a gunshot? I really can't tell. And bandits from the woods start to invade the camp. And this is where we're exposed to god-awful shooting. I could have talked about this before, but this is the perfect time to talk about it. There could be mobile versions, I'm not sure. There's certainly a PC version. But because I'm on Xbox playing with the controller, there is no aim assist. And thumbs are not as accurate as your wrist. So while you won't have this problem with PC, you absolutely will have this problem where you cannot hit anything. And this isn't just true of this one game, it's true of the entire series. So yeah, walkers start to infiltrate, so I gotta shoot them too. That's fun! So we provided cover for Carly and Ben to get in the RV. We provided cover for Clem, Katja, and Duck to get in the RV. Somehow a walker trips on Duck and Katja, but they get in the RV. It won't start, so we have to cover them more. More fucking shooting! So once the RV does get started, you and Lily pop in and drive away. Miraculously, no one died. I am extremely surprised by that. Lily decides to aggressively weed out who the traitor is. She suspects Carly. Lily accuses Carly of being related to the bandits, and she tells us that her family's Lutheran. Oh, come on, ye silly Protestant bumpkins. Join the papacy. In the middle of this argument, Kenny hits a walker, so we all get out of the bus to discuss this, all while Kenny's de-walkering us. Then once that walker's out from under there... Are you fucking kidding me, Lily? You complain about us being, quote, murderers for dropping a salt lick on your dad's head when he was gonna turn anyway and he was already dead? Yet you just murdered Carly. Lee simply restrains Lily after this. Frankly, I would have gone for her fucking neck. We have two options. We leave this crazy bitch, or we make this crazy bitch join us. So we decide to abandon her, and she decides to play the victim. You lost all credibility in doing that after you murdered Carly, you bitch. Lily brings up my past, and Kenny actually backs me up.
You've had Lee with you this whole time.
I don't care what he did before.
You know?
Yeah, he told me. I don't give a shit. If we keep you with us, how long until you get me?
And this is why Kenny is the best. The rest of us continue to drive away as Lily runs away. Wanna know what would have been nice? If we broke her legs and then left her. That would have been fun to see her get eaten. Katjaa calls Lee up to the front and she reveals that Duck was bitten. Yeah, remember when that zombie fell on him? Yeah, it bit him. So we're gonna have to deal with that. Telling Clem this information, she gets depressed. Though weirdly, yet very understandably actually, she's very stoic through the whole thing. Well, if the public education system didn't get you, something's gotta do it. All of a sudden, what the shit is that? And all of a sudden, Lee realizes it's a nightmare. It's daylight now. Hooray. And we actually come up to a train. Wow, this thing will actually take us to Savannah. Which, by the way, the current plan is we're heading east to Savannah to find a boat to get on the water so that we can avoid all these walkers. First of all, we have to get it started. Other than the locomotive itself and the first boxcar, everything is derailed. So you have to find a way to uncouple those from the rest, which I know someone who's been having problems with this part. So let me give you a quick tutorial. Step 1, open the tool shed. Step 2, grab any one of the 3 wrenches you damn well want. It really doesn't matter. Step 2, go back to the RV and grab the pencil in the cup holder. You go up to the locomotive cabin and find a man there. He looks like a walker, but we're not sure, so time to whack him in the face with the wrench you chose. I mean, you can shoot him, but why would you waste the bullet and make so much noise? Turns out he's dead, but not a walker. Someone got him in the head. Ben decides to be an absolute moron, just pushing buttons.
It's just the brakes.
Oh, so Ben has actual locomotive knowledge. Great, that'll be a big help.
I'll be damned. How the hell do we get it moving?
I don't know. That's Mr. Amtrak over here.
No clue.
Oh, so he was just pushing random buttons and got lucky. Even if he got lucky, he's a moron. That could have been the self-destruct button for all he knew. Ben goes to watch the women and children while we start the locomotive. There happens to be a notepad that has the engine instructions. Unfortunately, the page was torn out. So step 3, use the pencil to mark the indentations on the paper. Step 4, follow the instructions on the paper. Doing this will start the engine in the locomotive. Step 5, make it go forward. It won't go very far since it's still connected to the derailment, but this is the only way you can loosen the connector. If you don't do this and you try to remove the connector, it's rusted stuck. Heading in the boxcar, it seems as if someone's been living here. I decided to take the water bottle and give it to Duck. Final step, step 6, remove the connector pin with your wrench that you chose. And there you go, that's done. Now you can all leave. Once you get back in the boxcar, who the hell is this?
Name's Chuck. Charles, if you fancy.
So we get acquainted with Chuck and he tags along with us. Full speed ahead. Duck keeps getting worse and worse, so Katjaa tells me to tell Kenny to stop the train. He's in denial, so I have to knock some sense into him. Yes, I recognize that this is a different shirt, but that is still what tough love is. So Kenny finally stops the train, and we're forced to kill Duck before he turns. That's depressing. Kenny and Katjaa do it so Clem doesn't have to see it. While explaining the situation to Clem,
Things are... What the...
turns out that Katjaa committed suicide, leaving Kenny to grieve not only over the loss of his son, but the death of his wife. Kenny tries to do what must be done, otherwise Duck will turn, but there is no way I'm letting this man do it. For God's sake, he just lost his entire family. I'm not gonna do that to him. So I end up killing Duck for him. Being back on the train now, Clem tells Lee that Chuck told her that what happened to Duck would happen to her. So I go to talk to Chuck, and he actually has some good points. The 3 main points are that she needs to learn how to shoot a gun, we need to have a plan, and she needs a haircut. Chuck asks me for a drink, and even though I'm a prohibitionist, this is the apocalypse, I'm getting him the damn drink. Chuck thanks me and he offers me a drink. Because I'm a prohibitionist, the answer is a hard no, and Chuck tells me that the offer applies to anyone. So I tell Kenny that Chuck's offering him a drink. While he go gets it, I get the map right by him. On my way back to the boxcar, Ben admits something.
It was me.
Huh?
I was the one giving the bandits supplies.
What?
I should throw you in front of this train right now. So naturally, I do the right thing.
I could kill you.
I...
Nobody can see us. I could toss you over right now and be done with it.
No! Lee, please!
Why shouldn't I?
They said they had my friend! I didn't know what to do! Lee, please!
Really? That's the reason you're not gonna throw him off the train? Oh, don't you worry, because this is gonna get extremely satisfying in the next episode. So after that, I head into the boxcar where I teach Clem to shoot. Would you look at that? One crack shot taught another crack shot. You can give one of 3 pieces of advice to Clem on how to shoot a gun. Out of the 3 available, I choose squeeze the trigger. Real quick, actual advice if you want to shoot. Yes, squeeze the trigger steadily. Don't jolt it, because otherwise it's gonna screw up your aim and it'll make the bullet go somewhere that you didn't intend it to go. Also, breathing is very important. Take a full breath in, halfway exhale, because if you fully exhale, you're gonna get wobbly because you're running out of oxygen and you need to breathe. And it's much more natural than holding a breath of air in. The third and final piece of advice, as relating to always shoot the head, no, that is not actual advice translating to the real world. I get it, this universe put a bullet through the brain to keep the walker from coming back, and also common in other games where headshots are great. But in the real world, if you are in the unfortunate situation where you have to defend yourself and shoot someone, go for the center of mass, which is the chest area, simply because that is a larger target, and if you're aiming for tiny targets, you're more likely to miss. Now, what were we talking about? Oh, right. Where I cut her hair, and where I develop a plan with her. Our primary objective will be to find a boat, and if we can, we'll try to find Clem's parents. Because remember, they just so happen to be in Savannah. All of a sudden, the train stops, and why? Shit, the track's blocked. And not just with anything, a highly explosive tank of fuel. So, we have to figure out how to get this thing out of the way without killing everyone. And while we're at it, we actually meet a couple. Their names are Krista and Omid. They decide to help us and clear the track. Oh, look at that, I found tape. We're gonna need that later, so hold on to it. After getting to know these new people real quick, Clem and I head down to the train station. Due to the magical powers of Clem standing on my shoulders, she manages to open the locked door. Wait, what's this bar on the bottom of the screen that's going down? Nah, it probably means nothing. It's perfectly fine. It goes away if you prop open the door. Ooh, nice blowtorch there. We could use that to cut down the tank. Because there's a gap at the top, I send my now little satellite Clementine over, and she gets scared. Why? Because I get ambushed. That's why. When I first played through this, I thought you had to punch the zombies. So I punched one, I died. I punched the other, I still died. So what you have to do is you have to back up and grab the wrench. One walker I whack in the face with the wrench, the other I wrestle before I do the same thing. Lee tries to comfort Clem, then all of a sudden, he notices that she's trapped with one. High stress situation, go, grab the key, unlock the cell, finally shoot the walker, which will make Krista run in because she heard a gunshot. Then Krista leaves to make sure the gunshot didn't attract any walkers. I grab the blowtorch and I head back to the wreck. I ask Omid to help me cut the coupling to make the tank fall. Except one problem. The blowtorch doesn't work, but the handy dandy tape we found earlier helps. We have just enough to patch the hole and cut this thing down. Hooray. Almost making it through, Omid saves my life, because this thing decides to fall, but just outside of reach, so therefore, Lee has to dangle Omid off the edge in order to cut it. And right as it finishes, a herd of maybe 1,000 walkers decides to march on us. Great, I know. So it's time for a daring escape, in which, because the ground below us is on fire now, the train is moving, we have to jump off the bridge. I make it down just fine, Omid injures his leg. I'm not sure if it's broken or not. Krista hops out of the train to save Omid, and we have I'm gonna be honest, it's a very pointless decision. Both Krista and Omid make it onto the boxcar. It does not matter who you choose to save first, and the one you do save first will complain about you not saving the other one. I mean, on my first run, I saved Krista first because she's a lady and ladies first, and she was complaining at me for not helping Omid, who was injured. So on this run, I saved Omid first, and then he was complaining about me not saving Krista first because she's a woman. You just can't please anyone nowadays, now can you? We finally made it in eyesight of Savannah. Looking at a nice little drawing Clementine drew, all of a sudden her walkie-talkie becomes active. Wait, what the fuck? Wait, whoa. You mean to tell me that this thing has been working the whole time? If Clem is as intelligent as the average 8-year-old, I must have fucking been Albert Einstein as an 8-year-old. My God! A man's voice comes across the radio, and he sounds like every single stereotypical stalker creep man. Also, we don't know if she's been talking to him. The assumption is she has. And that actually gets proven in the next one. He has been talking to her. And it's dumb that you never told us. But then again, she's 8. I'm not going to expect her to be all that bright. All right, we get a look at her choices. That sounds nice. Did you shoot the girl in the street? Of course. She gave us more time. Did you abandon Lily? I'm in the minority here? If you don't abandon her, she steals the RV. How many fought Kenny? Is that even an option to not fight him? I'm wondering what sick, cruel people make up the 19% that I think made Kenny shoot his own son. And I'm in the majority helping Omid. Justification, his leg was hurt and he wouldn't be able to run as fast. Krista can still run just fine. So don't complain, Omid. Well, that was an absolute tragedy of a story, but you want to know what isn't so tragic? The fact that the next video is coming out, depending on if you're on Rumble later today or if you're on YouTube tomorrow. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked that video. If you did, go ahead and subscribe or follow if you're on Rumble or the other social media platforms, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Anyway, beyond that, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. See ya.